Joe Walsh is a former Republican congressman from Illinois who signed that statement. Scott Jennings is a CNN political commentator and a former special assistant to George W. Bush. Scott, let me start with you. There is this rift in the party on, it's unbelievable that the video we watched can in any way be described as a legitimate political discourse, and you've got some people defending that now. What does this mean for your party as you try to convince people in this country to give you majorities in the House and Senate?
Yeah, I mean, it's a huge mistake. It's an unforced error. It's wrong. As a political, tactical matter, it's a massive distraction from what the correct political strategy would be for the Republicans right now, which should be to talk about the future, talk about the state of the country, talk about anything other than trying to justify going back in time and trying to justify something that we all saw with our own eyes on television. Where you get in trouble in politics is when you try to convince somebody they didn't really see what just happened, or they're not really feeling what they're actually feeling. And that statement, and I recognize they've tried to clean it up after the fact, God help them, but that statement did not delineate between people who were ransacking the Capitol and people who just showed up for some political speeches. And the idea that you would be able to convince anybody that we didn't see what we all saw is ludicrous. And so it was a major mistake, and I'm glad some Republicans, especially in the Senate, have called them out for such.
And Joe, you're one of the people who's called them out on paper. You were one of 140 Republicans who sent a letter saying that, of course, violence like that isn't political discourse. I'll read a portion of your letter. History will mark this censure as a turning point for the RNC, a time of choosing between civility and patriotism on the one hand and conspiracy and political violence on the other. I think so often we see something that seems shocking and we think it's a tipping point or a turning point. What makes you think, Joe, that this one really is?
It won't be, Allison. It won't be a turning point. Look, I'm proud to have signed that letter, but I'm a former congressman. The problem with that letter, Allison, is there are too many formers. There aren't enough current. The current Republicans generally keep their damn mouths shut. I agree with everything Scott just said, but look, there's no rift in the Republican Party. I know I sound like a broken record. The party is really unified. The party base is really unified. And most of the rest of the world just doesn't get that. This is Trump's party. I'm done, Allison. I'm done with defining moments. The hell with defining moments. We're miles past those.
So let me ask you, this group that signed this from Renew America, I went back and read the creation statement, the mission statement, and let's put that up for these 100 plus. When our democratic republic, forces of conspiracy, division, and despotism arise, it is the patriotic duty of citizens to act collectively in defense of liberty and justice. We therefore declare our intent to catalyze an American renewal and either reimagine a Republican Party dedicated to our founding ideals or else hasten the creation of such an alternative. That was last spring. Where are you on moving forward on either of these missions?
What's interesting, Victor, is of all of us who joined that movement and signed that letter, we're all over the map on the future of the Republican Party. I've been pretty clear that I do not believe this party can change. I do not believe this party can be saved. I think we are looking at, in the next couple of election cycles, a brand new political party. Victor, there are too many good, decent Republicans and conservatives who've left this party, and there's no room for them. There's no room for Adam Kinzinger in this party. There's no room right now for Liz Cheney in this party, and that's not changing anytime soon.
Very quickly, Scott, I just want you to respond, because we are seeing people like Mitt Romney and Mitch McConnell, which you just heard there, say that they don't like basically what the RNC is doing. So is this possibly, I know that Joe says I'm done with defining moments, but do you see it a little differently?
Well, I think the reason that Mitch McConnell spoke out today is because he's singularly focused on trying to win elections for his party in the fall, and he knows that this is a huge albatross around the Republican Party's neck. If we're going to run this midterm on trying to justify what happened on January 6th, or run this or the next election on rationalizing or relitigating whether the 2020 election was stolen, which it was not, we're going to lose. This is a chance for the Republican Party to get in its own way, or focus on the future and focus on the things that the members of his conference want to focus on. So I don't know. Look, the Republican Party is in a terrific position to win elections as long as it focuses on what people care about and as long as it doesn't try to convince the American people of things, you know, that aren't reality. And we all know the reality of January 6th. Anybody with eyes and ears knows what happened that day. And they should not be taking a position on convincing them otherwise.
All right, Joe Walsh, Scott Jennings, thank you, as always, for the perspective.
Thanks.
Let's get down to CNN's Manu Raju, who just spoke with Mitch McConnell.